South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Headliners. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. A new wave of controversy swirling around Alligator Alcatraz. The state lawmaker says the new migrant detention facility would not be evacuated in the event of a Category 1 or a Category 2 hurricane. The comments led to swift condemnation from many critics. CBS News Miami's Nakaya Carrero joins us from the Everglades with the latest.
Throughout the afternoon into the evening hours, we've watched truck after truck entering right behind me into Alligator Alcatraz, working around the clock to prepare for the arrival of more immigration detainees. This on the same day as Florida State Democrats showed up asking to check out conditions, but we're told not today.
So to be clear, we're denied access.
Yes, ma'am.
Florida State Democratic lawmakers showed up to the state-run Alligator Alcatraz immigration facility Thursday, demanding to be let in, with concerns of conditions inside and outside of the facility.
I just recently got bit as we came walking out here, and my lips are swelling. I know that that money is not going to ensure that these people all have mosquito spray or that they're covered and that they are well taken care of. And I'm concerned about that.
And when we talk about it being inhumane, that there are questions that need to be answered. There are questions that, we want on the record who's responsible for this. We want on the record, are the toilets working? We want on the record how people are sleeping.
As the Democrat leaders tried to gain access, crews inside have been working around the clock. As seen in this video from Chopper 4, more tents are being set up.
So there are unsafe conditions, and we can't go in because there's safety concerns for us lawmakers, but there's no regard for those detainees who are here.
And while Florida Democrats are sounding the alarm, Republicans are moving forward with the plan. Florida Republican Senator Joe Gruters from Tampa spoke with CBS News Miami for Facing South Florida and was asked about other concerns like hurricane season.
These tents could withstand a strong Category 2 hurricane, so they can deal with winds up to 120 miles an hour. They're already prepared. And this is where Florida really excels. You know, you have Kevin Guthrie, the Department of Florida Emergency Management. You know, he helped this process by bringing all these materials. This was almost like a setup job for one of these hurricanes that we do.
Also happening is more manpower. The Department of Homeland Security said in part in a statement, the U.S. Marines will be trained and ready to assist with immigration processing at locations across the state of Florida, consistent with the whole of government approach to deliver on President Trump's mandate from the American people to remove public safety threats from American communities. We also asked State Senator Gruters if there is a plan in place in the case there is a storm stronger than a Category 2. He told us while he does not know the operational procedures at this time, he is confident that the governor and the Secretary of Homeland Security and the president will not allow anyone to be injured. You can check out more of his interview this Sunday on Facing South Florida. In Ochopee, Nakaya Carrero, CBS News, Miami.
Meanwhile, another Alligator Alcatraz controversy after several food trucks were seen entering the facility. Now those businesses are responding to backlash and social media criticism. CBS News Miami anchor Lauren Pastrana has more.
This is the video cooking up commotion on social media. It shows food trucks entering Alligator Alcatraz Tuesday, opening day. Kona Ice, Churromania, Elote Lovers, and Miss Cheesiest. In the comments, many are promising to boycott or cancel the businesses. Tonight, we're getting responses from each one. In a lengthy statement, Kona Ice said, quote, "We were recently made aware that one of our franchisees served shaved ice at a location connected to the Everglades Detention Center project in Florida. The event was booked through an unknown agency, and the franchisee was unaware of the facility's nature or its association with politically sensitive issues." Churromania wrote, quote, "To be clear, that was not an event we support. We have no political agenda and never have. Still, we take full responsibility for how this looked." Elote Lovers posted a similar statement saying, quote, "This was not an event we endorsed or supported. We do not align ourselves with any political or ideological agenda and never have. Our food truck was booked to provide a service, nothing more." And finally, Quote, Miss Cheesiest food truck was approached by a disaster response company to aid in providing meals for active service members stationed at the immigration site. Contrary to misleading online narratives, our presence was not part of any celebration or grand opening, and we are not engaged in ongoing services there.
That was CBS News Miami anchor Lauren Pastrana reporting. Our news partners of the Miami Herald report another food truck, Shea Grill, which serves Argentinian food, was also there. They spoke to the owner, who says most of the workers they were feeding spoke Spanish, and the trucks were confined to one specific area. We've got some new details now on the harrowing rescue of a 5-year-old girl who fell overboard a Disney cruise ship that was bound for Fort Lauderdale. Her father jumped in the water to save her, and now we know more about the moments leading up to the terrifying ordeal. CBS News Miami's Christian Benavides has more.
The Broward Sheriff's Office is defending the 37-year-old father who jumped in to save his daughter in the wake of social media backlash, telling us the little girl was not being held as erroneously reported on some social media sites. Late today, they revealed new details of their investigation. The cruise ship incident happened at 11:30 a.m., and the 5-year-old girl lost her balance while sitting on a railing and falling backward through a porthole. CBS News has confirmed this video shows what the fourth deck of the Disney Dream looks like, with railings and plexiglass and these portholes. Cruising expert Stuart Chiron says Disney goes beyond what is required by law to protect passengers.
The railings are not there for decoration. There's a solid sheet of plexiglass there that is meant to protect, as an additional layer of protection.
Oh my God. While they say there doesn't appear to be anything suspicious, sheriff's investigators have looked at surveillance images of the incident and have interviewed the family. The Coast Guard is also in the process of interviewing crew members.
If there's anything that we can determine that was the causal factor that we can make better via the regulations and make, better changes to make cruising more safe, then they'll identify that.
Kimberly Gore is with the Coast Guard in Miami.
In the event of a man overboard, the crew already knows who's assigned to the rescue boat, and they practice it, they drill it, so it's second nature to them.
As families head out on cruise vacations, maritime attorney Michael Winkleman has this advice.
Don't leave your common sense at the port. And I think there's a terrible misconception that people step on a cruise ship and all of a sudden they're in some magic isolated bubble of safety. And that's really not the case.
The sheriff's office also revealed that it was the child's mother who alerted the father to the fall. He quickly jumped in. He did not witness the fall. The two tread water for about 20 minutes before being rescued. When they got back to port, he had to be hospitalized. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami Beach.
When we come back, Stink Solutions. See the creative way that seaweed, once lining our beaches, is now being used. Next.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. Back in early May, we showed you an innovative solution for the sargassum problem here in South Florida. It was in the form of a product called Eco Lumber. That story made us wonder how our local beaches get cleaned up and where does all that seaweed go? Next weather meteorologist Shane Hinton went to the beach to get a first-hand glimpse of the cleanup.
A job that stretches for miles and miles. That's what Miami-Dade County Parks deals with on a daily basis to keep the coastline clean.
It's Mother Nature, so sargassum is going to come back. There's no way of stopping it from coming back, but we do our best to make sure that the beachgoers have minimal interaction with the sargassum.
17 miles of beach are combed over, typically twice a day, so beaches are clear of the smelly seaweed. A total of 19 tractors tackle the cleanup process, which includes 2 different methods, mixing and raking.
They are mixing the sargassum into the sands. When we integrate the sargassum into the sands, it's actually helping with nutrient loads. The sargassum will decompose over time, helps with producing more nutrients for the beaches.
This process is used for about 16 of the 17 miles of beach covered by the Parks Department. And it doesn't come cheap. It uses about $5 million of the $11 million beach operation budget. The remaining mile of beach uses the raking process, which consists of tractors pulling a device that brings the sargassum through a filtration system. This filter helps collect the seaweed while depositing any collected sand back on the beach. That's at an additional $4 million. An average of 2,000 cubic yards of sargassum is collected each month during the season. That's enough to fill 3/5 of an Olympic swimming pool every month. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection found the beaches at Hallover, Bal Harbor, 32nd to 22nd Street, and Government Cut historically see the most amount of seaweed each year. Sargassum was piled up in Key Biscayne when we visited last month, but they are not included as they are part of a barrier island. What happens to sargassum which gets raked off the beach?
We remove it, and then it's transported to a county-approved site where it's allowed to dry over time, reduce in weight, and then it goes to the landfill at that point.
That county-approved site is Opelika West, and it takes about 3 months for the seaweed to dry out before getting moved to the landfill. While Miami-Dade Innovation Authority is currently conducting pilot studies on 4 programs which could upcycle sargassum, there has not yet been a date determined for when these will receive a green light.
The chief of conservation for Miami-Dade Parks said if you're looking for the best time to enjoy a sargassum-free visit to the beach, consider going in the morning around 8 or 8:30 after the cleanup has occurred. Shane Hinton, CBS News, Miami.
We have an eye on your money. The 4th of July weekend is here, and that means your time to plan a summer getaway may be running out. So, can you still find cheap travel with a tight window? CBS News Miami's Steve Majiri has some helpful hints.
Iliet Ojeda says she travels about 6 times a year, often with little planning, and she doesn't always go to tourist traps.
And sometimes, honestly, the most spontaneous trips have been short planned, very affordable, and we've had the best experiences.
She says she's learned how to navigate these trips through scouring social media, reading travel blogs from other moms, and even AI.
I love just hidden gems that we have to kind of just figure out how to get there.
She documented her family's most recent trip to Arizona for Memorial Day.
All right, fam.
She found out that flying to Las Vegas and then driving to their destination cost less than flying directly to Arizona.
Going to Vegas, making something special out of that stop, and then driving over part of the road trip experience over to our destination, it made a huge financial difference.
Richie Massa is the managing partner of the Lorraine Travel Agency. He says you likely won't find many deals this late in the summer if you want to go to international destination spots like Greece or Italy. But he says you could get more for less if you go to some places that are less popular or in the off-season.
That could be the Caribbean and really more specifically a lesser-known Caribbean island. These places, non-stop flights from Miami, and they're going to present immediate value.
Massa says a place like Portugal can be 30 to 40% cheaper compared to Italy or France this time of year. And he says outdoor enthusiasts can save up to 50 to 60% if they go to Canada compared to Aspen, Colorado in the summer.
Not the places that the usual traveler thinks of, and less tourists, better value.
If you're looking for deals online, Amazon has travel deals for Prime Day, where you can save on gas, rental cars, cruises, and select hotels. And some of those deals are available now. Ojeda says when you're done exploring and need a place to crash, she usually finds better prices on Airbnb compared to hotels.
I feel like the gem of being in an Airbnb gives that whole personalized and personal experience.
Massa says if you want to save money traveling internationally, you should go to a place that has better currency exchange rates. That means in countries like Japan, Canada, Argentina, and Peru, your dollar is worth more in these countries than it is here in the States. In Coral Gables, Steve Majiri, CBS News, Miami.
When we return from the operating room to the operating table, why a South Florida doctor chose to go under the knife himself. Next.
From South Florida, this is Headliners, only on CBS News Miami.
Welcome back. I'm Elliot Rodriguez. Whether it's a week away or just a long weekend, do you find yourself needing a vacation after your vacation? I know I do. If you feel more drained than recharged once you return home, you're not alone. There are things you can do to feel rejuvenated during and after your summer escapes. CBS News Miami's Jim Barry has some tips that may come in handy to avoid those Monday scaries.
Craving a post-vacation vacation? Well, you might not be alone.
We're tired because we continue our work life and that work lifestyle on vacation.
Instead of relaxing, it can be tempting to overschedule to try to see all of the tourist sites or do all of the resort's activities and more.
We just continue working. it's just a different kind of work. I have to see this cathedral. I have to, walk down this road, eat at this restaurant. And next thing you know, you're not resting, you're still working.
Jordan Barber, a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine, says learn to embrace unstructured relaxation. Have a to-do list, but also be okay with just going with the flow and listening to your body. Other things to do to keep your stress in check: keep your hormones in balance with consistent meal and sleep timing. 2, get early morning sun exposure to naturally boost your energy and reset your circadian rhythm. Also, hydrate. You might be vacationing in a warmer climate or are eating more processed sodium-filled foods than normal. And finally, when it comes to meals, enjoy your vacation, but also try to eat more magnesium and potassium-rich foods like dark leafy greens, avocados, bananas, pumpkin seeds, and more to calm your nervous system.
It's okay to eat, at the restaurant that you want to eat at that might be a little processed or anything else, and to drink a little more, but make sure that hydration is up. But make sure that you're getting your magnesium, potassium-rich foods.
I'm Jim Barry, CBS News, Miami.
Good advice. Well, doctors use their training and skills to help treat and heal people, of course. But in this week's All-New Miami Proud, CBS News Miami's Lisa Petrillo introduces us to a South Florida surgeon who went under the knife himself to save a life.
Dr. Daniel Aguian saves lives as a neurosurgeon at Memorial Healthcare System, but his commitment to helping others goes way beyond the operating room. In 2021, the father of 4 donated one of his kidneys to a complete stranger, a 29-year-old woman in New York whose life depended on finding a match.
Preventing a young woman from having to be on dialysis and the potential of, a normal, healthy life, it is something that is one of the most impactful and really deepest messages that I can give to my family and to my kids, and to ultimately show them what it is that we have to do.
Dr. Aguian had enrolled in a donor registry years earlier. A first match didn't work out, but when a second match came through, this time with a young woman in New York, he didn't hesitate.
I decided that our job is really just to give. My job is to give. And that's something that we try to live our life by.
Recovery took 6 weeks. He never met his recipient, but he did meet her parents. So we asked, would he do it all over again?
1,000%. My life is normal. My life is entirely normal. I function the way I did as if I were to have 2 kidneys. This is a feeling that, again, I can't really describe in terms of the amount of good that we're able to do for other people.
His story doesn't end there. In October 2023, while visiting family in Israel during the Jewish holidays, Dr. Aguian found himself amid the October 7th terrorist attacks. Rather than returning home, he stayed to treat the wounded.
And I put them on the plane, and I essentially told my wife, I said, I'm not getting on the plane. I'm not going back home. She looked at me and she said, I know who I married. For me, that really gave me the motivation and tasked me with what I knew I needed to do. A bit tired, but ready to go see what we can do and try to help out.
He worked around the clock, sometimes 24-hour shifts, once again putting others first.
We can look at each other as strangers, or we can look at each other as brothers and sisters. And ultimately, for me, there's very few times in our lives where we're able to really have an impact and really show people what we're made of. I believe that we're really put on this world for one reason, and that reason is to give in whatever capacity we can.
For Miami Proud, I'm Lisa Petrillo, CBS News, Miami.
Very special doctor, and thank you so much for joining us this half hour for Headliners. As always, keep it here to CBS News Miami for up-to-the-minute breaking news and weather 24 hours a day. Make it a great one.